in action.
It's time, man.
Mark, Mountjoy Aquatics. We are doing a training on a prominent DCM5 and DACB. Guys, basically like the overview, we're gonna do this just like we did the last time. I'm gonna do it real quick, all right?
Yes, sir.
Main screen, it gives you your pH, it gives you your ORP and millivolts, and since you guys are CPOs now, you know all about that, I don't have to explain it. It gives you your temperature, gives you your free chlorine, your total chlorine, and your combined chlorine, okay? On the screen, it's gonna be reading those things out all the time. You have a set point button here for F3. If you go hit that button, you can go in and change your set points for your chemical feeds. If you want to change your acid set point, you would highlight acid feeder, hit OK, and then you can come in here and change or adjust your set point based on whatever you guys need to have. I leave that up to you. Usually 7.4 to 7.6, somewhere in there is about where you're going to be, but if you were to change it, you would just use your up and down arrow keys and then hit OK to save your change. If you go back in to adjust set points again, we'll go to acid feed, and now we're at 7.4, okay? I'm gonna go back in and change it to 7.5 where it was. I'll hit OK, all right? We talked a little bit about the last time about the different modes of feed. I've got these set for a time modulate. So your dead band is set to 0.3. So from 7.5 to 7.8, we're gonna feed slowly. It's gonna kind of turn on and turn off, turn on and turn off, turn on and turn off. The farther away from your set point you get, the harder it'll feed. Once you get past 7.8, it's gonna feed non-stop until it gets back into that window. And then it'll start modulating again, okay? Same thing for your oxidant feeder or your bleach. We're gonna hit OK. We have a set point of 3.0. If you want to change it, again, you come in here and change it to whatever you want. If you want to go to 2, you hit OK, whatever, okay? So we're going to leave it at 3. Dead band on that one is also set to a 0.2, and it is on a time modulate as well. With the size feeders that you guys have here, it's a little bit different than over at the pool. Over at the pool, you've got just regular Stenner pumps that are just pumping bleach and acid. Here, you have a Stenner pump for your acid, but for your chlorine, like some of the other, or all the other attractions or rides or whatever you guys call them, they're on these Venturi X2 feeders. They feed really hard, really fast, okay? So you can put a lot of chlorine in a very small body of water in a very short period of time. So in there on the feeders, there's an adjustment dial. For this one in particular, I have it set to like less than 1 gallon per hour, okay? Just to give you a roundabout approximation of what it's gonna take. This body is about 1,800 gallons. With that set to a 1, it will take 3 minutes to go from a 0 to a 3. So it doesn't take long, all right? So I've got this thing speeding very slowly, and you're gonna hear it. It's gonna go on and off, and it's gonna click in, click out, click in, click out, click in, click out. And you'll hear the contactor here and that little booster pump over there, and it's gonna come on, and that's what the chlorine feeder is attached to, is that little booster pump, okay? So back to this, it's reading our free chlorine, it's reading our total chlorine, and it's reading our combined down here as just a function of the math between those two, okay? If you need to calibrate, so basically you adjust your set points to what you need. If you come in here and you take your sample, and when you take your sample, you've got a, call it a 7.6 instead of a 7.5 on your color test. And you want to come in, you guys are using Spin Touch, is that, what are you guys using? I don't know.
Yeah.
Taylor.
Right now we're doing a Taylor.
Okay.
All
right, so if you come in and you're doing your drop test or whatever, and you get a 7.6, you come in here and you hit calibrate, and you come down to pH and you hit OK, and then you come in here and change the value to what you got on your manual test. Essentially what you're doing is building in an offset into what this sensor is seeing in the water, okay? Over time, as your probes get dirty, you will have to calibrate them farther and farther out. Once you get to a point to where you can't calibrate anymore, this is gonna say error. can't calibrate that far away. At that point, then you need to clean your probes, and I'll take one out. I'll just go through it again real quick and show you guys how to do that. But this is where you would calibrate and then hit save. Once you clean your probe, or once you get a new probe, you need to do a factory reset. When you factory reset, what you're doing is taking all that calibration. You went offset, 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 offset. Factory reset brings it back to 0. Okay, so you take all that calibration out and you move it back to the 0 point, and then we start getting farther and farther away as we calibrate farther and farther away. Okay, when we do that, we clean our probe, or we do a probe replacement. You're going to hit the calibrate button. You're going to go to pH. You're going to hit more, and then you're going to select factory reset. That's how you get that 0 back. Okay. You can also calibrate your free chlorine and total chlorine. So as your sensors kind of start getting out of whack, or you're losing your gel or your electrolyte in your sensor, you can start to calibrate farther and farther out, and then it'll kind of bring you back to 0 again. When you factory reset, you're gonna re-gel or put new electrolyte in your sensor, in your probes, and then you'll bring it back down to 0 again with a factory reset. Okay. Questions so far? All right, we talked about throttling valves and stuff. I'm kind of just to the point to where I think I'm just going to leave these things wide open and not make you guys have to adjust them. And then we'll just kind of calibrate it to try to get it to where it's reading what it's supposed to read. Okay. I do have these throttled a little. This one is easy because it doesn't move. But this one I do have throttled down a little bit. And the reason for that is because we're up here and the pump is down there, and they have it tied into the suction side of the pump. I don't want to create a vacuum in here, so I've got a little bit of back pressure built into this with this throttle valve on the outlet side. So what you'll notice is if you have this throttled, when you open this, you'll get water. Okay, it makes it a lot easier to get your samples. I know you guys are probably going to be testing your water from out there, but I really would love for you to test it here. This is really where you test it here. Okay, good, perfect. Okay, so if you don't have this throttled, when you open this, it's gonna suck, okay? So make sure that you leave this throttle to where you get water, okay? I have it set both ways, okay? So this one is throttled and that one's throttled, okay? As far as cleaning a probe or re-gelling or replacing the electrolyte, you're gonna close your system off. You're going to, and actually I'm gonna do it up here on the front one because it's a lot easier. You'll close your system off, okay? You grab your channel locks and you'll remove your nut here. Before you start pulling up on this, make sure you open this to relieve the vacuum or to relieve the pressure on the system. On these guys with the orange, once you get them loose, they'll just pop right off, okay? So this one, that one, and that one all do that, okay? The rest of these are all hardwired in, so you can't take them off, okay? But this one, you can, all right? So you got your nut here. You're gonna just gently wiggle this up, okay? And make sure you got all your pieces. You don't lose anything. You've got a gray bushing, you've got an O-ring, and then you've got a nut here, and there's usually a bushing right here, but it's not the end.
This one we can keep it in too?
What's that?
We can keep that in? Inside?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So to clean this, the way I like to do it is simple green with a toothbrush. Get any kind of grease or body oil or whatever, sunscreen off of it. Rinse it off with water. Swirl it in some acid. Rinse it off with water, and then put it back in. You're gonna clean this one and that one and this one all the same way. Don't do that to any of the others.
Yeah.
Okay? Simple green, water, acid, water, back in, okay? When we put it back in, make sure that you've got this in the right order, gray, then black. Get it in here, get it to pop down into place and seat down all the way. I like to flip it out to where you can see what it is, and then tighten this guy back down, and then give him a little bit of a turn there to snug him down, and that's good enough, okay? Then we'll go back over here and get that in there. Okay?
So all the ones with the removable wire, you can
You can clean, correct. Yep. The other ones you can't. Okay? Now, you've got a couple of this is where we're a little bit different than the other system. The other system was just pH and ORP, I believe. This one, you're gonna have your free chlorine and your total chlorine. So you've got a couple of different types of sensors here. So this guy is a free chlorine sensor. Remember, we are still open here and we're still closed here. We unscrew this and we gently pull this back up, okay? And make sure we get all our pieces, all right? This cap right here with that band is removable. You will unscrew that, dump it out, clean it out, rinse it out, whatever, just water, okay? And then you'll refill that with an electrolyte that is in that box right there. So this one gets the clear juice, okay? The real thin stuff, okay? You'll fill that little cap up and then you will screw it back on there. There's little holes in there and it will shoot some out. You want to make sure that you've got it full to where some comes out of the weep hole. Make sure you don't put your finger over the weep hole, okay? Ask me how I know. So if you do, you'll blow the bottom of the cap out, okay? And the whole membrane will come right out, and then you need a new cap, okay? So you'll fill it back up, you'll screw it back on, get it back on here, just like that, and then thread it down, okay? Good. Now, this other one back here, I'll have to close this one because it's different. I need to show you. And with these double stack modules, it's a little more difficult to get your channel locks in there, but just be careful because you can snap something off real easily. I'm going to open that to relieve the pressure, and I'm going to wiggle this back out. All right, now, different cap on this one, okay? This one takes, and I should have left it.
The dark liquid.
This one takes the blue bottle.
The thick stuff.
And it is the gel, exactly. It's real thick. And you get a nozzle with it, okay? The way I do this is I shake it down like an old thermometer, okay? If you remember getting sick and your mom would take the old thermometer and just shake it all down to the bottom and then shove it in your mouth. What I'm doing here is getting all the gel to the bottom and trying to get all the air bubbles up to the top, okay? Because you don't want a bunch of air bubbles in here. You take the cap off, you put this on. You go down, so you'll take that gel, or you take that cap, I'm sorry. You'll take this cap and you'll unthread it, you get it off of there, okay? It'll probably be empty or it'll be full of water, okay? Get it out. You can rinse it out with clean water if you want. It's not a big deal. If there is gel in there, you can use cool water to rinse it out, okay? You'll take that nozzle and get it all the way down to the bottom, as close as you can get to the little clear membrane at the bottom. Don't poke the membrane. It's like poking yourself in the eye, okay? Get it all the way down, as far down as you can, and then start to squeeze. You want nice, even pressure. Squeeze it all down, and as it's filling, you're gonna lift your nozzle up and out, okay? Try to get as few air bubbles in there as possible, okay? You're gonna fill it up. There's a line about right there, inside of there. You're gonna fill it up to about that line. When you thread this back on, again, you've got a weep hole, okay? When you thread that back on, you're gonna get some of that gel that squeezes out that weep hole. That's what you want, because you know that your cap is totally full, okay? Wipe that off with a finger, a rag, a towel, whatever, and then we're gonna put it back in, okay? This goes back in. Again, make sure that your sample valve is open. Get it there. Get it seated gently. Twist it around to where it's facing the right direction, because I'm a little type A like that. and then thread it down, okay? And again, these don't have to be crazy, crazy tight. They just gotta be snug enough to where they don't leak, all right? Remember we talked about leaving this one a little throttle just to create that back pressure. Go like that, I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna go like this all the way back open, okay? Same thing here, wide open, close that guy, okay? Now we should get water there, and we should get water there, okay? Questions, comments, concerns?
Sir.
Tip your waitresses, I'll be here all week.
Right. That deal?
That's it.
That's it.